Welcome to Keeping It Real, SRQ, with your host, Veronica and Jeremy Miller, and Tomi and Justin Knepp. Keeping It Real, SRQ is the show that shares what's happening in our local real estate market.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about smart home technology and some of the things we have the thermostat, we have the lights that come on at special times, we have all kinds of fun, exciting things at our house with the remotes and all this other things. What do you think? I mean, does that help sell a house?
Oh, totally.
Absolutely.
I think so.
It seems like a really nice feature. We just have average where you have to go flick on the switch to turn on the light.
Oh, no.
I know, right? No remote.
It's terrible.
Right? It is.
You have to get up?
Exactly.
But if you're going in and you're showing a house, isn't that the first thing you want to showcase?
Yeah.
Because smart homes are the way of the future, I think.
It
No,
can be.
I agree.
I know for some people it's a huge deal, and if it's not already done, they are going to spend quite a bit of money to get it done. If they are.
Well, we spent quite a bit of money. I mean, we have the doorbell with the video and the
Yes.
smoke detectors that tell you when to change. It literally tells you on my app that says change the batteries.
Oh, that's
so
cool. Yeah.
It's a little, and it's all the same. I think it's through Google Nest or something as well. Not a shameless plug for them, but but I mean it works, and we have cameras, the security system set up all that way. So it's pretty cool actually. I like playing with it.
Yeah.
And as people start to become more savvy, that's what they look for. Because, make my life easier. I'm going to be working from home, so I need a home office. And what smart technology do you have? They might even ask that. In fact, now since I'm talking, I'm selling a home, and a gentleman came in and he goes, he wanted to know about the internet, the hard drive speed, all this other stuff. I'm like, let me Google this. But, people want a smart home.
They do.
Yeah.
Something interesting that you mentioned for agents, something that we've been asked multiple times, and you bringing that up actually made me realize how many people, it's very important how fast internet they can get at the home.
The home.
Mm-hmm. So many people work from home.
And we just upgraded.
We just upgraded ours 2 gig, 2 megabytes per second.
And for a smart home, that's super important.
200, I guess.
When you have your videos and you're watching it from your phone and things like that.
Zoom calls,
so,
Yeah.
Comes in handy.
Still not fast enough for me, though.
It's better than that dial-up.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Goodbye, AOL.
Right.
Okay, so we're here today with Dione from Sea Breeze Appraisals. She's going to give us a little insight into what the appraisal process looks like and what exactly it is that appraisers do. Dione?
Thank you for having me. Yes, I'm the owner of Sea Breeze Appraisals. I'm a residential certified appraiser, and I can appraise single-family homes, manufactured homes, condos, residential vacant lots, as well as 2 to 4 family multifamily properties. So there are a lot of different type of people who request appraisals, whether that be a lender in order to secure financing, or if someone passed away and you need it for an estate and you have to do it back to the date of death, for divorce or bankruptcy, as well as for listing to determine the value before putting your house on the market. Those are just to name a few. There's lots of other reasons too.
Right. So when you go out to do an appraisal, what are some of the things that you look at and you do for, let's say, if somebody's selling a home and you're doing the appraisal on the home?
Right. So there's lots of things that we look at. One is we analyze the contract to see if there is any seller concessions involved, if it's a cash transaction or a mortgage transaction, to make sure it's an arm's length, not between related parties, etc. And then we look at the house and we try to select comparables if we're doing the sales comparison approach that's most similar to the house, as well as closest to the house in proximity in the neighborhood, etc. And some of the things that we look at is the size of the house. We measure the house per the ANSI standard. All appraisers have to measure to a certain standard so that we get accurate measurements of the house, living area, as well as the quality of construction, the different types of building materials that are used, the condition of the property. We look at permit records to find out when was the roof replaced last, the air conditioning, other key components, was the kitchen or bathrooms remodeled.
So you talked a little bit about the radius that you use. Is there a defined radius that can be used, or is it kind of open to interpretation as far as how far out you can go?
There's no defined radius. You like to stay as close as possible in the market area, but sometimes it's a unique property that there isn't any comparables within that immediate, let's say, mile or radius. There is no set defined radius, but you just try to stay within the neighborhood or as close proximity to like type properties.
So what are some of the other factors that would go into, like, the, if you go into a home and they ask, oh, I just put in new floors, is that going to raise the value, or is that just something that's more cosmetic and it's...
It could. We're all looking at market reactions. So you're looking for another home that has similar flooring. Or if it didn't, and yet it's still sold for the same value, then maybe there isn't a market reaction. So it all depends in looking at that market area and looking at what the market is reacting to those improvements and extracting that difference.
Okay, so some of the other factors that may bring up the value of the home, I mean, obviously a pool,
right?
That sort of thing.
So site improvements, pool, whether it's that could have an impact, a boat lift, docks, accessory buildings, whether that's a barn on acreage properties and things like that, all could contribute to the value.
So as far as the remodel, I mean, you see all these wonderful shows on television. I'm going to remodel the kitchen and I'm going to get an extra $30,000.
Right.
Does that actually have a large impact on it?
Kitchen remodels and bathroom remodels could have an impact often. But again, it's all in that market area and finding comparables in what they're selling for and you can't put a set dollar amount. A kitchen remodel is going to be this amount.
Right.
It all depends on that market area and what's happening in the market at that time.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in this afternoon, and we appreciate all your knowledge.
Well, thank you very much for having me. And if you need any further information, you can visit me on seabreezeappraisals.com.
Hi, I'm Veronica Brandon Miller, and I am excited to have Ken Jackson from Aqua Plumbing and Air back, the general manager, who you also train the folks at Aqua. So
Yes.
when you're talking about these products, he knows them inside and out. And today we have a new product that he's going to talk about, tankless water heaters. What? Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
So everybody, when we get the calls from people, they'll say, I want one of those Insta-Hots. One of those Insta-Hots. And we're like, you mean for hot water, or are you talking about for getting tea at the top of your sink? And they say, no, I want one of those that doesn't have a tank. So tankless water heaters are very, very popular now. They were invented in Europe first because the Europeans are very thrifty with their energy because their energy is very expensive there. And they would put tankless water heaters in every area of the home. They would put one in the kitchen, in the bathroom, or whatever. And the idea there is that the water doesn't have to go very far. And basically tanklesses work where they don't even heat up until a faucet is turned on. So there's very little energy wasted in the process. But in America, we have most of our water heaters are in a basement or they're in the garage, and they have to travel a long way to the product. So some of the things you have to consider when you're going to change from a tank to a tankless is how long is it going to take to get the water there? Is there a way to circumvent that? Or is this a time when I can put it closer? For instance, if you're doing a remodel job and you want to have one in your master bathroom, you can make that happen if you're remodeling your house. If your house is not being remodeled, you kind of have to go with the places that are set up with the utilities. But anyways, the whole thing with tankless water heaters, they come in electric, they come in gas. They're not very large. They're like a carry-on piece of luggage that you take on the airplane. They go on the wall, so they take up a huge, you basically save a whole bunch of floor space by putting these in. And then depending on whether it's electric or gas, you've got to get the electric or gas to it. Generally, if you have an electric water heater, which most people have in this area, and you want to put a tankless electric water heater in, the issue is that you don't have enough electricity at that appliance right now. So what you have to do is basically double the power supply to it. So then the question is, where's the panel? How far is it? Is there drywall that has to be cut? So when we go out there, we look at, hey, they want to have a tankless water heater. This is what they need. And we have our electricians that work with us, and they upgrade the power supply to that. So the question when you start looking at all this is that a regular water heater is X amount of dollars installed. How much is it to put a tankless water heater in? Obviously you're going to save energy because it's not going to be sitting there heating up every day like a regular water heater does. But is it going to be worth the payback? Is this investment going to be too much to recover in my lifetime or what have you? So these are the things we talk about. We show people. You basically have to size them so that you can do 2 or 3 showers at one time. If everyone wants to come home from the beach on a Saturday and everyone wants to shower and go out to dinner, you certainly don't want to be hindered with hot water. Which most tank heaters only produce so much hot water to begin with. So we come out there and figure that out, figure if you need a bigger gas pipe, if you need a bigger wire, and then we give you an installation and give you some sort of an idea of what the payback would be on this type of a product.
So that's good to know, because now I understand why they say Insta-Hot, because I recently had people staying at my house, and that was fun, the shower issue.
Yeah.
We got to wait, and then the third person in is not happy. It's usually me.
And sometimes when people are having that in their homes, it's because their water heater needed to be serviced. They only have one element out of 2 working, and they don't even understand why they don't have enough hot water. So sometimes it's just a matter of a service issue, but it comes down to a water heater lasts about 10 to 12 years in this market. So every 10 to 12 years you're going to replace your water heater. If you're in a condo, they generally require you to do it every 10 years so you don't have water damage. And a tankless water heater is a 20-year product. So it's almost double the life of a water heater. So that's kind of why the investment is a little bit more.
But it lasts longer.
It's designed to last as long as you maintain it.
Oh, and see, that's a big thing too, maintaining. I know we can do a whole other segment about that, but that keeps the restoration of all your appliances.
So like we were talking about before with water, we have a lot of minerals and things like that. So that's all transpiring in your hot water heater and your tankless. It's all going from a liquid to a solid. If you don't, flush that out and take care of it, it's going to accumulate. And so if you don't maintain it, usually we recommend every year taking a mild liquid and putting it through to get rid of the scale and the things that collect inside. But like I said, you have a 20-year product, so you need to treat it that way because if you don't, it's going to last half the life, and your investment's going to go right out the window. So,
well, I hope you learned something useful today. I know I did, and most important, that it lasts longer. I mean, and that's saving you a lot of money.
It sure
Especially
is.
when you have to pay for another one every 10 years.
Exactly.
Especially condo folks. So for more information, go to Aqua Plumbing Sarasota.com for information about this and the maintenance plan, because always have a maintenance plan in place. And thank you again for being on the show.
At Premier Home Watch, we provide the peace of mind you want, knowing your home is being properly looked after in your absence.
and welcome back. I am here with our special guest, Wesley Nordine, who is a mortgage lender with the Federal Savings Bank, and he's here today to kind of go over a little bit of what we spoke about last time and some new things that have come up while we've been away. So Wesley, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So last time when we got together, we talked about a little bit your express loan approval, and I kind of wanted to see, what the advantages were for your buyers to, go into that with you. Can you give us just a little summary about it and, how it benefits a home buyer?
Sure. The Express Loan Approval Program gives a home buyer the opportunity to have their credit, their income, and their assets reviewed by our underwriting department. This will give peace of mind to the buyer and the seller, knowing that their loan, the financing part of the transaction, has been conditionally approved. So not only does it take the stress off of all the parties involved, but it just shortens the process as well. Because once the buyer does get under contract, the only thing left to do is get an appraisal done and then the completed title work.
That's great, because we know how long the process can be. So that's definitely a huge advantage that you guys have compared to others.
Absolutely.
So I know that the industry is changing, and recently, we had Florida introduce the Hometown Heroes housing program. In short, what is it about?
Sure. So what's great is the Federal Savings Bank, we are an approved mortgage lender for this program, Florida Hometown Heroes. And it's this program, it just makes home ownership more affordable for eligible frontline workers, emergency workers, military personnel, educators, and so on. So the list of occupations to qualify is quite lengthy. So it's best just to reach out to inquire if the buyer does qualify for this loan.
Absolutely, and fantastic. Definitely reach out if you have questions and if you're eligible for it. So I know that there's specific details, of this program. How will it benefit someone who is looking to purchase a home?
Yeah, so borrowers can receive up to 5% of the loan amount, and it is maxed out at $25,000.
Okay.
So these funds could be used towards down payment, closing costs, or both. And it's great because the program can also be used for all the major loan types. So your standard conventional loan, and then your government loans, FHA, VA, and USDA.
Wow, that's great. That is really great. So how should someone find out if they qualify, for this new loan program?
Sure. So the best thing to do with any loan program, for an interested buyer, is just to reach out to get pre-approved. There are additional requirements that do need to be met for this loan program. And again, just get a full pre-approval done, and that they're good to go.
Perfect. Well, Wesley, I appreciate you coming in today and giving us a, quick overview of the Heroes Housing Program. If you or you know someone that's interested in seeing if they qualify, definitely reach out to Wesley. And if you have any questions, he's definitely your go-to person for that.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, today we have Robert here with HOPE Home Inspections. So Robert, tell me a little bit about your company. Is there something about HOPE? How does that work?
Yeah, so HOPE Home Inspections is really, HOPE is an acronym. It's helping other people every day.
Very nice.
And really what we try to do is do our home inspections to advise people of what they're buying, good, bad, or indifferent. And so, everyone deserves to know what they're buying. That's the whole point.
Absolutely. It's definitely to protect, one of your biggest, properties that you're going to be buying. So that's absolutely makes sense. Do you work with a lot of house flippers and stuff like that? Do they ever get you in before they do their renovations, or do you see a lot of after the fact?
We don't work so much with house flippers, I would say, but we work with a lot of investment people that will be buying a property maybe to renovate it for a rental business.
Yes.
And those people will tend to really want to understand what is going to be the big expenses they're going to potentially incur over the next few years or immediately. So we definitely work with a lot of those companies.
Absolutely. And I take it, do you guys do like the scoping and everything to check out like your plumbing, or how in detail do you guys take that for the investors?
So your typical home inspection is about a 300 plus item checklist of through the house, and then we offer a sort of a la carte addition to that typical inspection, which could include everything from a sewer camera to mold inspections, air quality, water quality, well inspections. I mean, it's a phenomenal list of things that we do.
Wow. Sounds like you guys definitely go in pretty deep detail, which is very nice.
Well, it's the biggest investment a lot of people are going to make.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of components to it. So it really, I advise people really, sit, talk to your inspector, and try and get as much as you can possibly have inspected. We can't see through walls. We can't see under the ground. So, right, a sewer camera is it's a dirty job, but it really pays off. Yeah. Especially for a lot of investors when you're going out there, and you may not be able to see some of the properties. You might live in another town, so this would be a great way for you to understand. What liabilities am I getting for this being a rental property? So that's a nice benefit to have. I think also it's a good, some of the investment companies we work with, not only do we do the first inspection prior to them actually buying the property, but then they may do some renovation, they'll get us back to document the condition of the property today and then hand it over to a renter. And there's actually sort of yearly, or depending on the rental contract, there's other inspections we do. So if a tenant, for instance, moves out, then we might do another inspection to report on the quality or condition that they left it in.
Absolutely.
And again, it's a lot of documentation and backup. Our reports typically 50, 60 pages long. We probably take 200 to 300 photographs on every inspection. So it's a really good way for an investment company to document, what's happening to this property over a period of time. Especially being in investments, a lot of times things can get ugly with renters, and having that kind of documentation from a third party is really nice to have on your side. Do you guys do a lot of, what areas do you guys work in? So we actually have 4 offices, one in Venice, one in Sarasota, which is our main office, Lakewood Ranch, and then St. Petersburg. We work from Largo to Northport currently. We're going to be expanding further south and more and more. Very nice. Perfect. Well, all right. Well, Robert, was there anything else that you would like to tell the viewers before we go? No, I appreciate you having me on and the time and everything. But yeah, if you're going to have an inspection, have it done by a professional, and absolutely have a lot of conversations with them. Perfect. Thank you so much, Robert. And if you guys have any questions, we'll put Robert's information down below. And thank you again. You're welcome. Thank you.
chemical pollutants, also known as volatile organic compounds, are another silent intruder, brought on by household products like air fresheners, personal care items, paint, glue, plastics, and carpet off-gassing. VOCs can also trigger and worsen asthma symptoms. In addition, these pollutants can bring on nausea and headaches, and at very high levels can cause eye and nasal irritation. Children, pregnant women, and the elderly are particularly susceptible. In addition to replacing stale air with fresh air, a carrier ventilator is an efficient and effective way to reduce the presence of VOCs in your home's air.
Of all the improvements you can make to your home, it could be the most important one is not seen or heard, only felt. Discover premium comfort with the ultra-quiet, energy-efficient Carrier Infinity Home Comfort System. It's an essential part of any healthy home, with smart technologies and a whole home air purifier that give you confidence you're breathing healthier air. And there's just no improving on that.